say, yeah, you know, we the blacks, and we're gonna rise up. But these are people who are not aware or not conscious of who they are, and by doing that, you're cutting yourself off from your birthright and from your identity and from who you are in your culture.
Okay. Black and white. These, I want y'all to think about this. There's no such thing as white people either.
Mm-hmm.
There's no nation of white people.
That's true.
Okay. So do the social engineering, right?
Mm-hmm.
These two group of people are lost or displaced people under the color of law. These are people who are right? Refugees. Okay. These are people who are what they consider nationless people. They don't have a mother. They're not rooted in nationhood. What do you do with people who are not rooted in nationhood? You have to have some placement for them under a caste system. So white people and black people, they really, it ain't no difference. It's just that in the U.S. policy, they gave the white man an illusion of superiority. Mm-hmm. But he's technically in the same condition as the black man. Right. He just confused as well. Because he can't run to the white nation. There's no nation that he can go to on planet Earth that's considered the white nation.
That's true. Indeed.
This is a tool of subjugation and a masterminding of control. By putting a white party against the black party, who are nothing but more subjects, they both in the same status, caste system. Mm-hmm. But one is what I would call the house Negro, and the other one is the field Negro, in a sense.
Mm-hmm. In a sense, yeah.
One get more privilege based on the structure of the system of the manipulation process through the construction of language, right? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna make white people feel important. But when it comes down to international law, they have no rights. They have nowhere to turn to. They only got to turn to domestic policy. They can't escape it. Black people on a lower caste system have this, they only have to, they're stuck in the same caste system. They only can turn to statutes and codes. So I really want you to understand these things, how this agenda was put together through this constructive language that Abdullah's talking about, understanding etymology, but also understanding the history of a word. Mm-hmm. Because they cannot strip a nation of its customs. This is customary law. A nation is enriched in its own customs and practices. I don't want y'all to confuse that with private law. Private law is between two private parties who enter into a contract, or two nations who enter into a contract. That's international private law. But when we're talking about customary law, that's the customs of that nature, of that nation, and no other nation can encroach another state. This is why it's very important. So black and white are both systematically a caste system.
On behalf of Akuno Senko for Bay, you know what I'm saying? Jay, where you at? We're trying to help our people elevate. Hope. HOPE. We're giving them hope. We doing what we gotta do, you know. Every day, one step at a time, man. We're gonna make it happen. Helping our people elevate. Yeah. Sometimes I practice focus, thought, and meditate. I'm trying to come with other ways to help our people elevate and seeking knowledge, make me levitate. The lifted mental state is what results from how we orchestrate. This for the family's sake. Let's self-reflect and self-evaluate. And every day, make sure the steps you take, you calculate. Receive a master's fate. I know I can't exist without the hate, but that's okay. I balance that with higher self today. Success is on this way, and after that, my flesh can pass away.
Okay, greetings, peace, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you all for being here. This is another classes, Fathers of the Modern Race Paradigm. This is going to be part 8, a recap of the chart that I did the last session, the chart over the word color and its semantics. And so this is the updated flyer that I've put together for my YouTube platform. As you see in the top left, you have the sponsors of the Morris Investigative and Research Committee. This is a few other people. This is everybody from the conference, but this is a few other members from the committee, so I wanted to put that on there. But we can go ahead and get into it. Before we get into the presentation, we want to talk about the upcoming event, the Do You Know Who You Are community addresses, or the Do You Know Who You Are community address. Brother Abdullah, would you like to touch on this?
Yes. As I said last night, this event was planned prior to the conference. This is part of assisting Mia Moore, the AMPAM, with their outreach. I connected Mia Moore with Free Loc 2 months before the conference, and they met a couple of times. And Free Loc in turn connected Mia Moore with Brother Carey, who was also part of the parade that they had in Detroit. I also connected Mia Moore with Brother Michael, who has kinfolks, a lot of kinfolks in Detroit. Sister Bacola is from Bolden, 2 hours from Detroit. So then Sister Mia Moore reached out to Maxim Cook Bay. So this is continuing the outreach. You know, the Map Fest, Brother Free Loc is part of the Map Fest that was on the previous day, July 27th. So we thought it would be fitting to plan the lecture around the Map Fest. We will, Mia Moore and I will be vending at the Map Fest. Cola will be there, Michael will be there, and we'll be broadcasting. This will be broadcast live. We're going to see if we can get a broadcast on Hank's platform. It'll be streamed on ours as well as AMPA's platform, as YouTube. We're going to see what about and yours, Okono. So we'll have it streamed live, and we'll also have we'll be broadcast live on my TikTok, Instagram, Facebook page, and other platforms on the festival, Map Fest. So I'll also be doing a radio show, I believe, on Friday or someday. So this is just part of our community outreach, you know. And so I'm excited about this. I'm excited about the connections that we're making, the growth of all of y'all. You know, and moving away from improper concepts to proper concepts. So I'm very excited. I did a reel for the back cover. I got, I think about 400 views on that reel. Yeah, so I'm going to continue to do the reels on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You know, so I will continue to help others in their outreach. You know, that's something that I'm very good at. I've been doing it for almost 40 years, going back to college. So so we can get started, brother.
Okay, so again, this is the Helping Our People Elevate study class every second and fourth Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so with the help of Brother El Kanan, I was able to put this represent the chart that we went over last week, but we got a little bit more spicy for you on this one. And so again, this is the Fathers of the Modern Race Paradigm. And so we're talking about the craniologist Francis Bonaire and his New Division of the Earth, the Nouvelle de la Terre, 1684, the naturalist Carl Linnaeus and his Système Naturae, 1758, and the anthropologist Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, who associated the term white with Caucasians. So a little bit about Francis Bonner. He was a physician and traveler in the 17th century and is known for his work of the Nouvelle de la Terre, or New Division of the Earth. His division aimed to categorize the world into distinct climatic zones and cultural regions reflecting the diversity of human societies and environments. And so Francis Bonner came with the concept of the black, white, red, yellow, brown people. Carl Linnaeus, also known as Carl von Linné, was an 18th century Swedish scientist who was often considered the father of modern taxonomy and binomial nomenclature. His major contributions include, there were many, but I just put the system A naturally on here, where Linnaeus developed a hierarchical system for classifying and organizing living organisms based on their shared characteristics. This laid the foundation for modern taxonomy, where species are grouped in genera, families, order, class, and kingdoms. And finally, is on those three, Johann Friedrich Blumenbach was the influential German anatomist, sociologist, and anthropologist who lived in the late 18th century, early 19th century. He is known for several significant contributions to the field of anatomy, anthropology, and racial classifications. And again, he make sure I say that properly. He associated the term Caucasian race with white people. And so Blumenbach's classification system is notable for coining the term Caucasian race to describe the white European race, based on his belief that most beautiful and exemplary skull shapes was found in the Caucasus region. Brother Elkanan, I'm gonna read it, and if you could you break down what they see here for him?
Okay, will do.
But race and color used interchangeably by way of the race paradigm. And so as I just spoke on Francis Bonner, Carl Linnaeus, Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, we're gonna go into how race and color are used interchangeably by way of the race paradigm. The association of color being connected with skin tone, white, black, red, yellow, brown. And as we've said in many of the lessons, these are human rights violations. Article 15 of the Declaration of Human Rights says everyone has a right to a nationality. And the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of a Child says every child has a right to a name and nationality. And so when we look what you're looking at, the chroma people, or people of chroma, are artificial people. It's a fiction in law. And so if you could, Brother Elkanan, could you break this down so kind for me?
Okay, so typically, normally when people are, and we really only do this more so with white and black. There's nothing on any well, I'll take that back. There's things on forums that will say maybe no, no, it's black and white. On forums that we actually see, application forms and different things, we'll see black and we'll see white. It's not so much, you don't see brown, they won't say yellow. They won't name, they won't associate the colors with the other name, with the other races. So the way the flyer or the way the slide is set up is one of the things that we take a look at is chroma. When I was speaking with Abdullah, I was like, okay, we gonna say, we're dealing with, the color versus people say, no, brother, we're not gonna do color, because color is a fiction. We want to look at, when we're talking about brown and black and yellow and white and red, the nationalities that you have represented, those are actually that's the chroma. That's the chroma spectrum. So that's one fallacy right there, is calling the word color to represent chroma. So when we represent, the other thing is what the human rights violation is, we're taking a look at these five people, or these five nationalities here. We take a look at mostly, we just have all Moors, maybe excluding the Asian, but looking at all Moors outside the Albion. And what we're used to doing is the guy with the high top fade is black. We've been conditioned to think that this guy is black. And the Albion, we don't call them that. We'll call them European, all right? Or we'll call them white. And when we look at Europa, that word European is actually a Moorish word. We've associated that because of the conditioning to the Albion, which we call white. So that is the first fallacy here is the fact of the matter that we're looking at color. We're looking at chroma. We're calling it color. The proper term for it is chroma. And the reason behind that is because color doesn't represent the people, or it doesn't represent a nationality. It represents the actual it's a spectrum, it's a chroma. The next thing is when we take a look at people, we don't want to associate, or the fallacy here is we're associating people with the term color. And that's a violation of human rights. And that's more so being subjugated to us as Moors, calling us black, so that we don't have connection to the treaties. We don't have connection to our rights. We don't have connection to our birthrights. We don't have that cuts us out of the human family. So I'll yield with that. I'll yield with that.
I appreciate your piece, Islam. Do anybody have any questions? Are you guys understanding what he was saying, what we're talking about in here? Any questions? Okay. All right, so as the brother was just talking about chroma and color. And so when we deal with nationality, you don't, well, how could I break this down?
Well, can I start with one thing real quick, and then I'll yield the floor to you?
Go ahead.
When we take a look at these colors, this is a color spectrum. You'll see this in general education, you'll see this same color spectrum. But when you get into the profession of photography, of videography, and different things like that, they will call it chromatic spectrum, because that's the proper name of it. But what we have done is we have associated the name color in place of, we didn't kick chroma out, and we say now we're calling it color versus chroma, which is not the proper name of that. And all of that is because of the buildup, using this example from the fathers of the modern paradigm, dealing with this color thing, taking it out of context, and instead of using the word chroma, they use the word color so that they can go ahead and start associating race with color. So I yield with that.
And remember, color means to hide or to conceal. The etymology. And legally, it's artificial. And we're going to dive into that as well. But what we're talking about is a live plant and artificial plant. We're talking about nationality. And go ahead.
So here's off.
Go ahead, Connor.
Okay. What we're talking about is nationality and color. Color being an artificial plant, nationality being a live plant, which is rooted in soil governed by a law of nature. And then color being manufactured in a factory governed by legislative laws. So again, Francis Bernard's Nouvelle Division de la Terre, 1684, cut the roots, it cut the nationality off. And what was the intent of the race paradigm? The question we ask is, what was the intent of the race paradigm? Well, we're dealing with birthright theft, subjugation of land, and identity theft, and a false history. As Quasi presented last night in this class on the Atlantic slave trade, we see that they couldn't have been doing the things that they claimed that they were doing if we had all this power. If we had the treaties, we had the land, we had the resources, and they were being held captive. Then we see it as a false history. The subjugation of land, identity theft, birthright theft. So again, European land birthright heritage, subjugation, conquesting, social engineering methodology, misrepresented as prejudice, hatred, racism, and discrimination. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about this color label.
Indeed, indeed.
And so I asked the question, what is etymology? Its Greek origin, etymologia, meaning the analyst of a word to find its true origin. Etymon, the true sense or original meaning. Logi, the study of. And so etymology is the study of the true origin of the word. And so what I did here, we took the Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, and we took the definition of the word color. And I want to show you the synonyms to define the word color according to the law. And so as you see here, it says an appearance, semblance, or simulacrum, as distinguished from that which is real, a prima facie, an apparent right or apparent right, hence a deceptive appearance. Again, a deceptive appearance, a plausible assumed exterior, concealing a lack of reality, concealing a lack of reality, a disguise or pretext. And so let's look at these words that we're reading. Or let's look at the words that I just read and let's look at what these words mean, I should ask, or I should say. And so appearance, the way someone or something looks, that's easy, that's simple. Semblance, outward and often specious appearance or show. Deceptive, a deceit and dishonest. Fraudulent, conduct, false statement made knowing them to be untrue. So they know calling us color is untrue. That's not who we are. By which the liar intends to deceive a party receiving the statement and experts, the party to believe and rely on them. Millions of people that believe that they're black, that they're a color, through this deceptive fraud. From 1684 to 2024, you have millions of people around the world, especially here in the US, that identify as crayon colors, black and white, that don't know who they are. Exterior, being on the outside surface. Prima facie, evidence. Yes.
Real quick, just for point of clarity, you want to clarify that what the deception is the constructive meaning of the word color.
Yes.
The constructive, they've created a constructive meaning of the word color to associate with the spectrum.
Right.
They tied the word color to the spectrum. They tied the word color to spectrum. They replaced the word chroma. They replaced the word chroma with the word color. That's the deception. That's the deception. Is to replace the word chroma with the word color and apply the word color to the spectrum. So instead of saying the chroma spectrum, people have been conditioned since kindergarten or pre-K 3 and 4, they'll say color spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
When color has nothing to do with hue or shade or complexion or skin. So that's the point that you're emphasizing here.
Yes.
I want to add this to it too. In the deception part, we're talking about you're replacing the people, you're replacing the chroma of black with a people, and now that's robbing them of their birthright, their identity, and who they are. So that's when you get deeper into the deception, because now you're saying you're black, but that doesn't connect to any nationality, that doesn't connect to any race. You're just looking at, because you drink the Kool-Aid, you've bought into the deception, and you said, okay, fine, I'm black, I'm representing this. And where it becomes damaging is you say white to white folks or whatever the case is, they already ruling. So it doesn't, you know, it don't affect them if you call them white or you call them, you know, whatever the case it is. That doesn't dehumanize them. Black has been associated with so many dehumanizing as far as the people that have been caught up in the they've been caught up in the damage, that's the injury that's being done, the slavery, the killing, the going to picking up young black boys and young black girls back in the 60s and harvesting their organs and things of that nature, having sex with young African girls because that's supposed to make you, I forget the nonsense that's associated with that, but these are things that have been going on for decades. You know what I'm saying? And that deception of being color has robbed us from the identity of who we are. I just wanted to add that little extra additional rather.
No, that's why I asked you to be here tonight, because I need all the information you got.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I appreciate that.
We doing it together, man. Let's work it out.
I appreciate both of y'all. I appreciate everybody that's here tonight. So again, we have plausible. You could conclude that something might or might not be possible, but usually, theoretically, superficially, or suspiciously, it doesn't necessarily have to be a reasonable conclusion either. In its broader sense, the term usually points to a lack of proof. And so as they were just saying, I mean, like, we drink the Kool-Aid. We follow. How did we get here? I give you a few examples. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Our people would not be judged by the color of their skin. Dr. King.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were many people that pushed this, not knowing, but pushed this, and we bought into it. We drank that Kool-Aid. And now we our stomachs are full on this Kool-Aid. Disguise, a counterfeit habit, a dress intended to conceal the person who wears it. Conceal, to prevent disclosure of or fail to disclose, as a provision in a contract, especially in violations of a duty to disclose. Pretext, false reasons that hide the true intentions or motivations for a legal action. That one right there stuck to me. False reasons that hide the true intentions or motivations for a legal action.
Kono, go back to appearance, because appearance, all right, appearance, an exterior show, semblance. So appearance is an exterior show. So it's not showing the true intentions, you know, so you're still showing the exterior as opposed to the inner. You just see when you say, well, it's an appearance from that which is real, you know. When you say it appears to be, you know, it appears to be, you know, from its exterior, you know, but when you look deep into it, it's something else. So what? So these are all synonyms, as you said. You did a great job with this. This has never been done. You know, this is, you know, we simply would just read it, you know, but these are all. This is one of the definition routes. There's 25, and I did this part of my semantics. Who's taken my at the Academy of Providence? They've taken the getting to the roots, and I did was the 25 or definition routes. Well, synonyms is one of the ways in which a word can be used to define. The word you use a method of synonyms to define a word. So synonyms, the methodology of defining this word color and the legal meaning of the word color, they use synonyms. These are all synonyms to define the word, the legal meaning of the word color. These are all synonyms. So there's a relationship here. there's a likeness and meaning. So the appearance is a exterior show. So these all have to deal with some exterior showing, you know, distinguished from artificial. What's artificial? It has, you know, an artificial plant. It has an appearance of looking real.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I yield.
I appreciate you for that. Go ahead, brother Saeed.
I was wondering, would the word fictitious fit on this chart, or would that be something totally different?
I mean, it is fictitious. It's artificial.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But think about it, Saeed, though, before you, I want you to, this is part of critical thinking, though. You asked the question, and we want you to answer your own question, Saeed. So answer your own question by, what does fictitious mean, Saeed?
Imaginary, something that appeared to be real that is not.
But
So,
there you go. So you answered your own question.
absolutely.
You answered your own question by knowing the definition of fictitious.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about legal terms having the word color. So color of law, color of office, color of authority, and colorable. Color of law. We can go, we're going to jump into it later on in the presentation, but we can go into the colors only, whites only restaurants and establishments, businesses, etc. Color of office. Well, what color is your supervisor? Oh, he's a white male, or he's a black male. Color of authority. Well, what color was the police officer that pulled you over? Oh, it was a white male or it was a black male. And so colorable. Go ahead. Okay, so colorable, again, meaning that it's artificial. It's not real. It's false. And so everything you're seeing on here is artificial. Is artificial, distinguished from that which is real. And so we're in a artificial system, if that's the word to use. Brother Elkanah, would you like to touch on this?
You said artificial system. Explain that. What do you mean by we're in an artificial system?
Okay, from what made me say that was, I was gonna say the matrix, but I'm not gonna say the matrix. So I'm gonna just say artificial system as far as getting up and
Because even matrix is too. You have to explain these words, though. You have to give some. You gotta, give some pictures. To some people, to our minds. So colorable color system. What does that mean? What do you mean?
okay, a colorable system, because if color means it's artificial, it's plausible, it's an exterior, it's an outer appearance. It looks to be as if it is, but it's not what it appears to be. Then what we think is, as far as the color of law, color of office, color of authority, it looks to be, but it's not.
Well, you said system, though. You said system. You didn't say something action about what they're doing. You said colored system. What makes it a colored system? Like what? Identify the system and what makes it the system colored. This is just critical thinking for everyone.
I got you, and I'm thinking.
All right, so we could they're ready to take it the next step further. You're ready to take it a step further and to stimulate critical thinking for everybody that's on here. All right, a colored system. So first you have to identify the system, and then explain why it's a colored system.
Okay, I'm thinking about. I guess, and I'm gonna let whoever that was go. I guess I'm thinking in my head as far as. When go ahead. I'll go after you. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, you're good, brother. You're good.
Okay. What I was trying to analyze from what he was saying, because of the fact that the process that they do to cover up the true understanding of the people. So I believe because of the process that they're doing to what would you call that? Title the people.
Would that make the system colored though? He said this color system.
Yeah.
All right. The system could be not. The system could be. All right. You're just talking about a process, but the thing that it was colored system. They follow me. Colored system. So I can have a system. I can have a system that can be righteous, that can be just. Right. The system itself. The system itself.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then someone does a process that is unjust. But we're talking about the system. Remember, colored system is his term he used. Mm-hmm. Not process. Colored system.
I got you.
System and process is not the same.
Absolutely.
Right. Right.
All right. Just want you that this is under this critical thinking. That's all. Critical thinking analysis. Colored system. The system could be just. And this process could be colored, but not the system itself. But I'm saying, so he said colored system. So first identify the system.
I guess I was saying a system of what? Discriminate. Well, that's not a system. I was thinking as far as like work related. I'm gonna use myself as an example. I could have co-workers that could be giving me a problem, and they could be picking and picking and picking. And then when I respond, depending on how I respond, they will look, oh, why is he acting like that? You know, and then they could play the victim, and because of that's why I said color system, because they could play the victim and oh well, you know, and then since they're of the same, what's the word I'm looking for? Quote unquote color, then they're gonna choose their side.
All right. Let me help you out. The United States is the system. United States is the system. The United States is the system. That's the system, the United States. So we identified the system, the United States.
Yes, I do. I know
All right.
Dude for many years.
So let's go on, because let's go on, because this
Could I help out with this, Abdullah?
If you're gonna do that, right? You should
Go ahead, King.
Could I help out with this?
Yes, go ahead, King.
Okay. This is a process. This is why we talk about international law, and we need to understand this. So, under international law, you have people that are refugees, right?
So that's why I don't know.
People under the religious, right? What they call religious.
Excuse me, hey, Michael, mute your phone. Michael.
Yo.
Mute your phone.
This is a principle of international law. What happens when you have a bunch of refugees that migrate to another country? They're looking for refuge under the Religious Refugee Act, right? These people have to get into a caste system. These people are now refugees. These people ran, so they're no longer a part of a nation. They're refugees. So under the international law, you have to do something with these people. These people have to be conferred right. They have to have rights. So under a caste system, they're under a fiction of law because they're separated from their nation. Because nations deal in treaties. This is why we need to understand these principles. So the United States created a fiction in law because we're refugees. That's what they try to make us appear as. Under that caste system, they created this fictional law, but it's still based in international principles, but it's handled under their domestic policies. So when you understand these things, when you have lost or displaced people, what do you do with them? So this is the stuff that we need to understand, because we're not lost and displaced people. We are people who are been genocide, who has been erased from history. And they gave the appearance that we are refugees, we are slaves. So we had to be put into a caste system. Stop. So these are things that we need to understand why everything we do, you need to know these principles. We need to understand international law. We need to understand what is going on, because United States law is rooted in international principles. Do that make sense now, everyone?
It
Yes.
makes sense. Yeah, it does.
Yes, thank you so much for that.
It does. It does. And I want to just, we're using words in common usage, which is good. But just looking at what King was talking about, we look at genocide, and the question comes then is, what is genocide? What do we mean by genocide? And it's a deliberate destruction of a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group, either in part on or in its entirety. So the United Nations Genocide Convention 1948 defines genocide as any of the following 5 acts committed with the intent to destroy a group. Let me say that one more time. The United Nations Genocide Convention in 1948 defines genocide as any of the following 5 acts committed with the intent to destroy a group. Number 1, killing members of the group. We see killings with police officers shooting. We see that's now, but let's go back to even being hung, when you had mass mobs that would come and pull Moors out of the prison or out of the jail after falsely being accused to kill, or going through and just shooting with machine guns, weapons of mass destruction at groups, whether that be us here in the United States, but specifically, let's just speak with those of us United States. You don't see too many of those things. You do kind of see a mass shootings at sometimes, but a lot of times it's, it may be 4 or 5, you know what I'm saying, or 10. It might be 4 or 5 or 10 police officers shooting one person. Like, I forget the young man's name, putting his hands up, Trayvon. And they did that to another young man. I forget his name. They did one for putting the neck on the brother's, putting the knee on the brother's neck. Those are just some examples of killing members of the group. That's just kind of the range between 40 years back, 50 years up until now, causing serious mental or physical harm to members of that group. Well, again, when you jailing somebody or slamming them on the ground or things of that nature, people being on the job, stressing out, am I going to get fired? Am I going to stay? Am I going to go to jail because of this or because of that? That's causing serious mental harm to the group. And these are just a few examples, and other folks can jump in and add or recap after or whatever, or join in. Imposing living conditions intended to destroy the group. It was a plan in the major cities like LA and Chicago and in different places. I don't know if New York has any projects, but areas where they have high rises. You see the Jeffersons and Good Times and stuff. That was a design thing to have folks living on top of each other in cramped conditions, having slumlords to go ahead and have individuals go through working, go through your medical things that you were going through if you're getting sick or just different things happening to you. And then you got to come back home. The lights are not necessarily working. Urine on the stairs. Folks are fighting outside and shooting, and you got gangs. you know, and doing territories, one block during the next. So this is trauma that's going on in your mind, and that's stuff that you have to actually go through. So that's, and like I said, again, I'm just mentioning a few things, but not a lot, but imposing living conditions intended to destroy the group. That is intended, the projects, and then trying to create neighborhoods to turn them into hoods where they're not safe environments where you can walk up and down the street, you know, having those violent areas to live in, which is not conducive. You have kids outside playing and they get shot by a stray bullet, or to get run over by a drunkard, you know, going down a home, what do you call this? A home street or a neighborhood street or whatever the case is that should be 25 miles per hour, and you got somebody driving doing 60 or 70 miles per hour, and you know, causing someone to lose their life. But just having the environment where it's not very conducive for peaceful and harmonious interactions or whatever the case it is. And then preventing births within the group. Well, I don't know about if anything is happening now, and somebody help me out if you know of something. But at a point back in the 1600s, or definitely within the 1700s, there were times, I'm not giving cause or claim to the transatlantic slave trade, but what I am saying is you had doctors who literally killed, you know, they were killing off and again, this wasn't in 1930. Well, I can't necessarily say it was 1930 or not, but there was a cleansing, there was a genocide going on even with the babies before you even got a chance to live your life. So, and there's a lot of different examples of that. Babies, I'm not going to say it wasn't births, but at birth, you're being, you know, you're getting a what do you call this thing? You're getting a birth certificate. So you're getting this birth certificate, and you're already being part of the system before you even get a chance to live your life. So these are examples of some of these 5 acts that the convention, you know, the Genocide Convention specifically is talking about 1948. And then finally, forcibly removing children from the group. So your group is the family. It's from our nation as Moors and your family, and you have these children that are being removed because, you know, they're saying, well, you're not a fit mother, you know, or you're not a fit father, you know. So you have the court systems taking the kids away, and then, or the children, I don't say kids, that's a goat, but taking children away and then putting them in a foster care or foster home. So you're separating, you're pulling the family apart, you know, take the man from the house and then take the child from the house and put in the burden and the stress on the woman when she doesn't have the man. And then all of this is part of the genocide. So I yield. I'm sorry, I got a little worried.
All right, I'm going to oppose you. We're in world court.
Okay. Yep.
All right. It's not genocide. Hear me out.
Okay.
I'm gonna oppose you because we're in world court.
Okay. All right.
I'm opposing you.
Yeah.
Because you did not talk about these people being part of a nation.
Indeed.
All right. That's why. See what I'm doing?
Yeah.
I'm doing this is for everybody, y'all. We got to rise to this.
I'm coming back now. I agree with you.
So all the examples he gave, it was not a people that's part of a nation. He didn't mention, treaty violation. He didn't place these people as part of a nation, even if it's collapsed. He didn't tie them to a pre-existing nation. So they must be off. You have to identify the pre-existing nation that these people belong to. That has to be, then you start talking.
Right. I agree.
But when you're talking loose and say, well, this is genocide, and then housing development, and then so we just have to be structure, be clear when you're using, because you're using the genocide and the convention, but how you laid your argument that you didn't tie these people to a nation that you were talking about.
Okay, can I
that this such and such treaties were violated, So we come in, we still belong to our mother. We still belong to our mother. And so that's why the nationality is paramount. Identifying these people as who they are. Once that is brought up, then the genocide argument is brought in. Tying these people to a pre-existing sovereignty, a pre-existing nation state. It's just how you laid out your argument, though. You just,
All right. So now, what I will say,
had set with that,
then go ahead.
If you had started with that and laying the proper foundation, then everything else just be fine. But because you didn't do that, this is needed because
that's a teachable moment. No, it's
they're gonna poke holes in us. They're gonna poke holes in us.
No, it's a teachable. No, you're right. So I need to identify who that group is. I'm just saying in my rebuttal, and I understand what you're saying, and I agree with it. You have to name who the people are. So you're saying who is the one who's being mistreated or who's being damaged. We're not identifying ourselves in there by just saying the group. But what I was just saying is the United Nations Genocide Convention, they define genocide as these 5 following areas.
I understand that, but I'm saying, but you have to bring your argument. I have
to bring my argument. Okay.
That applies to us.
Exactly. Okay.
That's all I'm saying. I got you.
Okay.
But could I assist y'all? This is why we need to understand principles of law. Because everything is rooted in principle. If you don't know principles, then you can't use inductive and deductive reasoning based on an argument and claim. So when words really matter, because words are very specific to a situation, to a circumstance, to a finding of fact. We must understand these principles and root ourselves in these principles. It will guide you. Indeed. It will help you understand how to articulate and speak. So this is why we need to understand that, because they're using words constructed. This is a word of art. This is an art form that we need to understand. This is a mastering of an art form that you need to really articulate and understand. This is why this committee is very needed. This is why a Kono class is very needed, so that we can look at what's going on with the treaties and everything, so that we can identify with the principles. So we won't get it confused. So we won't speak in a manner that throws us off or away from our claim. We must understand this to the letter. This is why we are having issues. I just wanted to say that so that we can now absorb what we're doing, and now it'll be in you. It'll not be on you. It'll be in you. I yield.
I agree with you, King. Definitely,
my man.
And I should have said, and I'm glad, because this is what it is. This is what we're doing right now. We have to think in terms of international law. You're right, and we have to use the treaties in order to do that, so I see that. I see that. I want to add this real quick, and probably be about 2 minutes here. The CPP-CG also states that the genocide can occur during times of war and peace. So the term genocide was coined in 1944 by Polish Jewish lawyer Raphael, and there's a point in here. Raphael Lampkin, who combined the ancient Greek words genos, race, nation, or tribe, and the word kadere, to kill. Lampkin used the term to describe Nazi policies in occupied Europe and Armenian genocides, and a campaign for its recognition as international crime. So we're putting this in the international. It's a thing. This is we're dealing with it now in the international. Well, I'm saying we're dealing with it now, but it is. When we look at genocide, this is something that we look at in the international courts. And Lampkin used the term to describe Nazi policies in Europe, in occupied Europe and Armenian genocide, campaign for its recognition as an international crime. 1946, the UN General Assembly unanimously passed a resolution recognizing genocide as an international crime and calling for the creation of a binding treaty to prevent and punish it. The CPPCG was the result of the subsequent negotiations among United Nations member states. So yeah, we've got to, and I guess the last part, genocide is considered to be a serious crime under international law as war crimes and crimes against humanity. So yeah, we've got to, this is just stamping it home with King and what Abdullah was saying. We've got to use that. We have to think in terms of international law, and we have to talk in terms of treaty, and we have to identify, we have to make the claim substantiated based off of the treaty and identifying who we are. So I'm just adding that as an additional piece, and I yield the floor.
I appreciate everything that y'all just dropped. Anybody have any questions on what was just said? Okay, we'll continue. All right, so what we're looking at now is, or what was been talked about actually, and what we're looking at now is the social engineering and the chromo spectrum. And so if you look at each picture, each image, each chart, you see where the word color is circled. So when you see complexion, the natural color, texture, and appearance of a person's skin, where does that mean? So we know what color means, and so we see what we're unbreaking the spell. At the top, you see the hue grid or the chromo spectrum. You see if a hue is mixed only with white or black, it stays pure with tint or a pure shade. Once another color or gray, black and white is introduced. I'm just showing you how to use the term color. And then the bottom right one, skin tone, the surface color of the skin. And so again, they've associated this term color with skin pigmentation, with skin tone. And we know color means to hide or to conceal. We know color is artificial. And so they've modernized this term color to associate with skin tone and pigmentation. Brother Elkanan, this is your piece right here. And I like how you did it.
Uh-oh.
If you don't mind.
Okay,
We were
yeah.
just talking about this a little bit.
Yeah, so when we take a look at the social engineering, the two that all of them are dealing with social engineering because, but there's one that I like that stands out more, and I think it stands out for everybody that's looking at the screen right now, and that is the water fountain. The water fountain is saying black and white, and I'm trying to blow up my screen a little bit on my side because that's me that has a little small.
Color, white and
Yeah,
color.
yeah, white and
Oh,
color.
white and color. I'm sorry. Yeah, white. Right. We was just, yeah. Things were just being written so it can become black, but yeah, the name, but yeah, white and colored. So the issue is that right there is that's the social engineering. You know, at that time, or we can even say it now, but definitely then it was a matter of peril if you drank from the white. But the thing is, you were engineered, you were programmed, let's use that word, you were programmed to go to the colored and only drink from the colored and only go to restaurants to do things that when they say colored and then this is white, that's part of the social engineering, taking on the chroma of the spectrum and saying, or taking out one of the chroma and saying, okay, you know what, this is you're associating people to the actual chroma. So we look at it here, we say the blacks must rise. Now we are identifying in that particular picture, we're identifying, saying, yeah, you know, we the blacks and we're gonna rise up. But these are people who are not aware or not conscious of who they are. And by doing that, you're cutting yourself off from your birthright and from your identity and from who you are in your culture. We cater to white trade only. Okay. Again, that's still the social engineering because now those people in skin tone who are white know that, oh, okay, this is for me. And then here we have the brown pride for black pride, or brown pride for black pride. So the thing is now, again, you got brown people, or the people who are consider themselves brown, you know, are going out and saying, hey, we're brown. So that's the whole thing. It's just identifying with the social engineering, with the brainwashing of saying, hey, because of my skin tone, I am this chroma. So.
Indeed, brother Abdullah. Go ahead, King. Go ahead, King.
Too. Okay. Black and white. I want y'all to think about this. There's no such thing as white people either. There's no nation of white people.
That's true.
Okay. So do the social engineering, right? These two group of people are lost or displaced people. Under the color of law, these are people who are refugees, right? Refugees, okay? These are people who are what they consider nationless people. They don't have a mother. They're not rooted in nationhood. What do you do with people who are not rooted in nationhood? You have to have some placement for them under a caste system. So white people and black people, they really, it ain't no difference. It's just that in the US policy, they gave the white man an illusion of superiority. But he's technically in the same condition as the black man. Right. He just confused as well. Because he can't run to the white nation. There's no nation that he can go to on planet Earth that's considered the white nation.
That's true. Indeed.
This is a tool of subjugation and a masterminding of control. By putting a white party against the black party, who are nothing but more subjects, they both in the same status, caste system. But one is what I would call the house Negro, and the other one is the field Negro, in a sense.
In a sense, yeah.
One get more privilege based on the structure of the system of the manipulation process through the construction of language, right?
Mhm.
I'm gonna make white people feel important. But when it comes down to international law, they have no rights. They have nowhere to turn to. They only got to turn to domestic policy. They can't escape it. Black people on a lower caste system have this, they only have to, they're stuck in the same caste system. They only can turn to statutes and codes. So I really want you to understand these things, how this agenda was put together through this constructive language that Abdullah's talking about, understanding etymology, but also understanding the history of a word.
Mhm.
Because they cannot strip a nation of its customs. This is customary law. A nation is enriched in its own customs and practices. I don't want y'all to confuse that with private law. Private law is between two private parties who enter into a contract, or two nations who enter into a contract. That's international private law. But when we're talking about customary law, that's the customs of that nature, of that nation, and no other nation can encroach another state. This is why it's very important. So black and white are both systematically a caste system. I yield.
Islam, good stuff. Islam.
Brother Abdullah, you want to touch on it?
Man, I can't go. Man, I can't go after that, man. Man, I'm bound to that, man. Appreciate you, King. Appreciate you, brother.
Do anybody have any questions, any add-ons? Okay. Okay, so again, we're talking about nations and their nationalities. And so I'm gonna read the middle part, then we're gonna examine what we see on the screen. But nationality, according to the Black's Law Dictionary, is the qualities of character which arises from the fact of a person belonging to a nation or a state. And so, as you see at the bottom, it says chroma does not represent or identify a people as a people. A nationality does. Chroma does not represent or identify a people. Nationality does. And so, what details does come with nationality, or what do, like what you see on the screen? You see a flag. We talk about treaties. We talk about land, customs, culture, a history. Black, white, red, yellow, brown have no flag. They have no custom. They have no history. That's really all on this one. Brother, Brother El Kanan, you want to go into this one?
Yeah, so we talk about nationality. Nationality, we just look at a definitive term for it. It's a legal bond having its basis a social fact of attachment, genuine connection, or an existence, interest of sediments together with existence of reciprocal rights and duties. Okay, so what it really is a culture. Your nationality, nationality is your culture. It is your tribe. It is your clan. It's who you belong to. It's your characteristics, your traditions and your customs. So just like King was saying, you start saying white don't have that.
Mhm.
White don't have all of what we just said. White is an adjective and it describes a noun. So you could say black or more, if you want to use that. You want to say a red apple or something like that. You look at the color or the chroma to identify what the actual term is, or what that noun is or pronoun is. So when we look at nationalities, these nationalities, Morocco, right? This person their nationality is they are Moroccan, or they are Moor. You look at China, that person is Chinese. So it has the correlation from, here's your nation, you belong, your nationality. Another thing we could say is you belong to this nation. And this nation has its customs and its traditions, its foods, its culture, all of that. Well, culture, brings all of that into play. So the right side is connected to the left side, because a Moroccan belongs to Morocco, Chinese belongs to China, Kenyan belongs to Kenya. And so when you say black is not representing a Kenyan or an African or someone from Nigeria or somewhere like that. It's not representing that. Kenya, they belong to Kenya, not to white. So that's not a nation. So we've also used these names, white, black, red, yellow, brown, to represent nations, to say that this person is brown. You don't have a brown nation, and that's what King was talking about. We don't have a brown nation or a white nation or a black nation. We have these nations that are already here, that have been set from beginning of time, and we have these people who are identified. They're represented by that nation. Morocco represents the Moroccans, China represents the Chinese, and so on down the line.
And then also, I mean, like you said, they have culture or customs, and so you got Chinese, they have Chinese food.
Yeah.
You know, French has the French fries, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Italy has, I mean, they all have, I mean, like you say, they have customs, culture, they have their foods.
They have their dress, they have a language, they have customs, they have artwork, they have things that have been around for thousands. Well, I can't speak of all of them, because all of it, I give Morocco and China, but I'm not going that far with a lot of the nations, because the African nation, we look at as far as empire, have been around. The Moroccan Empire, I mean, hundreds of years. You know what I'm saying? So all of that is part of your makeup. The point is, a color is not going to do that. White doesn't have any. There's no culture to white. There's no people. You can look at a skin tone and probably say that, but that's a false association, and that's as we mentioned.
Islam.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Islam. Piccolo Cusario.
Okay, Islam.
Islam. Yeah. So great class. I happen to be here with my coworker. He's from one of those nation states that's in Cabalon, aka Africa, and so he was listening, and he was just sharing with me that he's from Kenya, what they call Kenya. And he said he wasn't even called that. So I stopped and I was like, oh my goodness. I said, I'm going to expand our minds. So that's why I jumped on real quick. He's saying that there are, how many? He's saying there's 42 languages, cultures within that territory that they call Kenya.
Oh, wow.
How about that?
Wow.
I didn't know that.
42. That's just in his region. So, yeah. Islam. I just wanted to share that.
I thought you were gonna say the whole thing. You said just in that one area. That's powerful.
That's it. And what is the original name for? Oh, he's standing right here. What was the original name for your nation state?
The whole land, everybody was calling their own place. They call it
Kirinyaga. That's just the territory that we call Kenya.
They had their own.
Each subculture called it something different.
Yes.
Wow. So did you catch that? See how colonialism chops you up and makes you unidentifiable even to your own selves?
That's
and that's not uncommon for countries in Al Cabalan. You know, my own native land of Nigeria. I was born in Nigeria, came here when I was about 11 and a half. There's over 500 languages spoken in Nigeria. We have three clans though, three main clans though. You know, the Igbos, the Yoruba, and the Hausa. But yeah. Yeah. Good stuff.
That was I appreciate that, Sister Bacalia. We needed that because they just taught me something, and what you just said as well, Brother Elkanah.
Yeah, that's yeah. Okay. Okay.
All right, so we looking at race versus nationality and which is artificial, which I'm sure everyone here knows which one is artificial. What you saying? Let me see it. I'll type it. I can't be doing that and doing this. But yeah, race versus nationality. And so what we're looking at on the screen are the application forms. The big yellow one is the State of Rhode Island Providence driver's license application. But basically, we're looking at where we're talking about race. What is a person's first race, or what is a person's race? And as you see on the screen, you have the Francis Benaire, white, black, etc. What's on? Okay, same thing on that one. This here, Brother Elkanah, I'm gonna leave this one for you right here.
All right. That can you go back for me one more time to that? Yeah, right there. So this is line item 9 on the I think this is the on the left side it's the driver's license, and on the right side it's the visa. Right? So they still play that game, and you did say it, but I just restamping it. They still play that game of the race and color. They still go back to the modern race paradigm, and they use these particular things. So it's still going through and you know, and impeding on you know, human rights by going through. And but if you don't know, if you're not aware, if you don't know, then that's a problem, because now you just go through and say, hey, well, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna circle this box right here, black. And I think, and well, I don't want to go into that. I was going to go in and start and talking about, you know, as a more, you know, when you identify more on your application, you go ahead and well, some have done this, have put white, but again, it doesn't make a difference if you say white or black. It still is, you know, we have that fallacy where we're going through, and that's something that is an idea, you know, to be changed or amended at some point by someone down the line, by some of us who are on the call, who are trying to change things around or whatever the case it is. But the fact of the matter is, the race versus nationality situation is still happening as far as the chroma is concerned on the applications. And again, that's something that's happening because of, you know, the system hasn't been changed on that. So I just reiterated that, but okay, go ahead, Akono, if you go forward. So why I picked this, and I talked to Akono about it. I said, you know what? We got Moors on the page. Well, it's all Moors. Let's first of all, it's all Moors on this slide. But you can't necessarily tell by what the folks on the left side are wearing, just because they're not wearing fezzes or because they don't have particular type of garb on or whatever. You can't see, or you don't know if these Moors, because they are Moors, whether they are aware of that or not. You don't know if they're conscious or not. But the issue is, I looked at the group on the left side, even to identify some pictures to say, well, these are individuals on the left side who, let's say, are not, from a visual standpoint, identifying as Moors. And the assumption could be maybe they're unaware of who they are. That could be a great assumption based off of looking at the picture. So at school, we say using your context clues, what can you tell about this picture? So what can be told is, or what can at least be assumed, or it's a possibility that the two slides or the two pictures on the left side are individuals who are not aware of their culture or their birthright. You know, those over on the right side, it appears, and I'm going to say that it's true, that at least at the top right, they have accepted, or they have consciously become aware of who they are. Part of when you start doing something, when you start recognizing that you are part of a body politic, or you're part of a group, you're associating some way, either by dress, by some type of culture. There's some type of identifying piece to your culture that's representing you, that connects you to that actual culture, right? There's something that happens. It could be your speech. It could be your, and I'm just saying connecting to culture. It could be your speech, the dress, the things that you wear, whatever the case it is. But this particular slide is just saying, here we have folks on the left side who appear to not be conscious of who they are, and on the right side, we have those who are. So we're really trying to get folks to cross over, and that crossover also can be for those of us on the call, for us looking at misconceptions, and then just going to, you know, the true and the proper understanding of what things are. And the other thing is looking at the us looking at things now. Those of us that's on this call, and a lot of folks who are tuning in, or whatever the case is, are looking and saying, okay, fine, well, we're talking about what's happening in the what's happening in as conscious Moors, what discussions we're having. Then we take a look at that, and then we're saying, okay, now Abdullah is saying this, getting us to think this way, and it's true, we should be, and that's in the future. What I'm going to start doing is definitely is, when I start posing things, state from the law side and make the claim, but substantiate the claim. Having folks to consciously, having Moors to consciously think and say, I'm going to look at this from an international standpoint, you know, because that's what we have to start doing, is getting this international law down, looking at these treaties, and then being able to make claims when we make statements, and not just, you know, saying something, but saying something. And then the bottom picture, of course, is you know, those are just pictures of Moors from ancient times that are just in you know, some books or drawings. So the thing is a crossover, crossing over from the left to right, crossing over the thinking from misconceptions to conception. So that's the ending point, is, you know, being able to the point is being able to cross over from misconceptions to proper concepts, but also to take a look at things from the legal standpoint, and start identifying and naming and talking from a legal standpoint, international standpoint. I'll say it that way. That's a better way, international standpoint. So I yield and turn it back over to you, Okono. I guess we can be open for questions or whatever.
Yes. We are open for questions because this is the last slide, and we're almost done. So yeah, that was the last slide. We're gonna discuss the upcoming event again. But anybody have any questions? Any statements? Anybody want to add on anything? All right.
What happened? Did the call? Did the call drop? Everybody go?
No,
they
no, we here.
I'm still
Oh,
here.
all right.
No, everybody's on, bro. Everybody's on. I had to walk away. I heard.
All right, King, what you got, man? What's talk,
King.
man? What you got? What you got?
The purpose of these discussions, the community outreach is to draw the community into a conversation, to stimulate them to understand really where is this mistreatment coming from, to educate them on history, law, so that we can now see the truth and get and put ourselves back into the international world of politics, so we can deal in economic law, customary law, all the various principles of law associated with what we're trying to do. So I appreciate you brothers for coming together, because this is a journey that's needed. You know, I appreciate Brother Abdullah. He is so passionate. I told him that, you know, I applaud him, you know, because if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be here, you know, talking to you guys. You know, so my thing is to educate y'all on the law, help us get prepared, help us to critical think, to team up with Abdullah, Shem, and you guys and form this committee, so that now that when we move, people will see, you know, the force, the power that come with this, and the knowledge that come with this. So I'm just happy to be a part of this and give my little bit of knowledge, because it's a lot of people working, you know, Quasi, you know, Amanda, Kono, so when I look at these lessons, I don't just look at these lessons and say, this is some good information. I'm collecting bodies of evidence. Why was they doing this race paradigm? What was the purpose behind this? Why was this social engineering? This was a program to start getting to colonize a place and to strip the people of their birthright.
Mhm.
So this is a customary practice. Now we can say, oh, this was you guys' agenda to go and do this. This was an intentional act, right? It's different when when something is accidental, but when somebody is premeditated this through a plan of action. If I say I'm gonna go kill a brother, and I put all the steps, I get the weapon, I go do all of these steps, I go case his house, I do all of these things, I'm not acting out of self-defense. I'm acting out of me with intent to commit harm. Now, when I look at what Quasi is saying, what Okono is saying, I listen to Abdullah and the treaties, I'm fact-finding. I'm collecting evidence. My brain is starting to, this all type of things is going off in my head. All types of things is going off in my head. because I'm bringing the law principles in it. Now I'm getting the history. That's what I was missing. I told Chief Vanderlei, I'm a legal guy, but I'm not a historian. This is what I was missing. I was missing Abdullah. I was missing Abdullah. So when I got with Abdullah, I said, oh, I got all the pieces necessary now. I got the history. I could bring the law. And then he got Shem. Oh, man. Then I didn't know what all Abdullah, all the people that was involved. I said, oh, man, this is great. So now I got the pieces. So now we can move forward. And all we got to do is keep doing what we're doing. It ain't no trying. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. And we're going to get there. As long as we keep doing this, we're going to reach the pinnacle. I get it.
Islam.
That was wonderful. Go ahead.
Are you guys, do you want us to talk about the fly Percola? I talked about it at the beginning.
While we're waiting right now, I just, there's a couple of people that I saw online, and there's a couple of people that I didn't actually address or speak to, and I'm not doing it for self personal aggrandizement. I'm just doing it to I want to see if they have something to say. Brother Saeed, we heard from you a couple times. A lot of that was in the text, you know what I'm saying, in the comments or whatever. But is there something you want to say? And then Brother Raheem, it's been a minute, man. If you got some words to say, and I open the floor to anybody, Quasi as well. King, you've been, you dig in, and that's awesome. DuPont, see you on the call as well. If there's I know there's quite a few other people that I'm missing, but just to because this is a learning. As King is saying, he's learning the historical part, and the mix that with the law, because you got to know the history. Without the history, it ain't no law, because this is what was done. The history is telling you what was done and with the legal ramifications of what was actually happening. So those go hand in hand. But this is a learning. This is a class. This is a class for the presenter and for the people who are in the class. So and state your, you know what I'm saying? State your thoughts, because that's the only way that we're gonna be able to dig through and uncover unveil some of the misconception, or to get a better understanding, either one of the two. I teach math. I've been teaching math for 22 years. I teach math because I want to get better at math, because I like math. Now I'm going to have to get into law. I'm going to have to get into history. I'm going to have to get into etymology. You know what I'm saying? Because those are all things that we're going to need in order for us to understand who we are, and then at the same time for us to be able to teach others. So again, Raheem, DuPont, Saeed, Quasi, Bacola.
Yeah, Islam.
Islam.
It's DuPont.
Oh, it's DuPont.
Yeah,
Okay.
most of the times, this has been going on since I've been working with Abdullah, because I'm on the West Coast. I find myself up under a house, up under a sink, and I'm listening as I'm doing work to sustain some type of lifestyle out here on the West Coast. So I'm always listening. Then I have to go back and re-listen to it and try to dig up some more information. So that's been my struggles with this. And it's really not being a struggle. I'm just glad that I understand what's going on to brighten a better day for us. And with that, I yield the floor.
Islam. And I'm not trying to moderate this, but I just want to add something. I just want to talk right after you on this one and just say this, that there's a lot of things that get unearthed in these particular sessions that we actually have. And I will say this, from my experience, I'm tapped into a few more other groups, and I can promise you this, the energy and the zeal and what's being, nobody's doing what's happening right for what's happening right here. I'm not stopping any curtailing any other progress that's going on with Moors, but what we're doing right here is very powerful. Let me say that. I'm not gonna say nobody else is doing it, but I yield the floor.
Yeah, so I just want to get into real briefly because I've been at this for a minute, and I actually been in the community, so I'm seeing the power and the outreach and the platform we have here, and I'm able to actually go and fish for people and actually bring them to the group. I have brought several people here already. Yesterday, I actually brought a brother, which was good because he was on the when are we going to stand on the Constitution thing, and Brother Abdullah gave him a little insight on that we're not doing that. That's not what we do, and about the misconcept behind it. So technically, I mean, I just love what we're doing because I understand what need to be done, because if you actually look back at some of these ways that people operate, it was all through the people. And so if you get the people behind you, then you have the support. As when I ran into a situation I was dealing with, the people actually assist me, and there were all type of people. We're talking about Spanish, I mean, not Spanish, but Chinese nationalities, or Ethiopians, and mostly everybody that came in the door, even the Albions. Everybody was helping with what I was dealing with. So I understand the importance of what we're doing. So I just think that we should continue doing what we're doing. And thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of this.
Thank you for being a part of this.
We thank you, Islam.
Anybody else have anything they want to add on? Okay. With that being said, I appreciate y'all again. We will be having our next session in 2 weeks from today. I'll be putting that together here real soon, working on that. I look forward to seeing those in the committee this Saturday. And thank you all again for attending.
Thank you.
Peace and love, Islam. Take care.
Just want to send my love and light, many praises and high honors to everyone on the call. This is Brother Raheem Allah Bey, Queens Territory, New York Republic. We're right on track, man, and I'm here to learn and putting all the pieces together, and I just want to give everyone their praises, gratitude.
And also, this will be uploaded.
Appreciate you, Raheem.
This will be uploaded within the next couple of days. It should be up Sunday. Yeah, it should be up Sunday. So, yeah, watch the video, catch what we may have missed, share it, push it out there, let your friends hear it, enlighten them on the information that's being presented from part 1 all the way to this part 8, the recap. And so, again, I thank y'all. Peace and love. I'll see y'all next week, or in 2 weeks. I'm sorry. I'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
Peace and love.
Thank you.
Good love.